having a lot of different identities, especially coming from Africa, but not really having like connection there. And so kind of trying to create our own culture, create our own definition of that in America, pulling together the odds and ends of things that white America leaves us and making it great.
Great thing, like overcoming all the struggles that we've been through and things that are going on in today's world. I mean, being Black is just a great thing.
For me, personally, represents a culture. It's my heritage. It's involved in everything I do, I say, the way I talk, the way I act.
I'm really not sure because there's so many different meanings of Black.
Being confident, knowing yourself, and just being courageous.
It doesn't really have a definition to me. I feel like either you're born into the culture or you're not.
Coming a lot from being oppressed to being ranking high social class today and just bettering myself as a whole, bettering the culture as a whole.
Well, being Black means to me that, especially on this campus, I feel at least a little bit unique. Basically, I'm just proud to be Black.
Working hard, trying to beat the odds. It's a struggle, but we gotta overcome a lot more stuff than other people do.
It's a very significant symbol of strength.
It's probably responsibility for the most part. And if people came before me, put the time and effort in to give me the freedom that I have today. So that's probably the biggest thing. Stick with me.
I think being Black is just an idea. I wouldn't necessarily say that being Black defines like my entire character, but I will say that it is an identifier.
It means that I'm always gonna have something to do.
It means a lot to me. It makes me proud. It explains me, explains my friends, my family. It just basically sets you aside and lets you know that you're different from others.
I always have to work, is what I'm saying. Like, nothing is ever gonna come to me. And of course that applies to anyone, but I feel like as a Black woman in America, I have to always be in my P's and Q's. I have to always be doing something for me, for someone else.
It is having a certain culture, a certain way that you carry yourself.
That I have a spirit of solidarity with people.
Black to me is just something that I was born with. I mean, I can't change it. I wouldn't want to change it. It's just who I am.
I was raised to be Black. One no other way.
10th grade.
I would say since I was born.
I started around when I was 3, and I think when you become 3, it's like one of those times where you start to become aware of different things. And so I think my parents were really the ones that kind of pushed me to become aware of like the Black culture, Black community, and of course their take on the Black culture and the Black community is much different than say somebody else's might be, but that's kind of when I started to develop.
Since birth, because I was born into the Black community, that I really started associating myself with it as I got to UNC and a bunch of stuff started happening in the media.
I switched from public school to private school, and the friends that I made there kind of helped me identify my own.
From New York to a white town kind of helped me realize my Black community and made me become closer with it.
At a young age, my parents instilled a sense of Black pride in me.
I've always been me, and being myself made me part of that community just because I am Black. So it was never something I began to do. It was just something that I always
Early years growing up with recreational sports like football and basketball within the community, family. So I would say right when I was around 7 or 8.
I guess it started from when I was young because I grew up around a Black family. So I guess they're like the whole culture of Blackness that they have instilled in them, just been instilled in me.
Different shoes I came on this earth. So my parents kind of pushed being a part of the Black community and just making sure that you were cool with people that were like you. So I definitely started that early on.
Honestly, I didn't begin to associate myself with Black culture until recently. I'm biracial and I was raised by the white side of my family. But coming here, I've just been getting more into my Black side.
Well, basically, since I was a little girl, I always grew up in like a Black family, and I went to a mostly Black high school. So this is like the only place where I feel out of
I'm from Canada and everything, and we have a pretty good population of black people, but there's a lot of other races, so I kind of realized I was different growing up, and kind of being with my family, going to church, and having that kind of culture, I realized that I was black, and that's what I was.
I moved to North Carolina from San Antonio when I was 12. That's when I actually got a culture shock with my people. Because in Texas, I didn't have a lot of black people to be around. I didn't know what being black was.
Yes, I began associating myself since birth. I've only known myself as being black.
Well, it hasn't influenced my views on who we are as a people.
I feel like blacks are targeted, and I feel like our media isn't really helping the situation any better.
A bit of both. So whenever I see like a black person doing something that hasn't been done before, like say this past Olympics when we saw like the first black woman ever to win a gold in swimming, like that was really, really inspiring. But then when I see things like blacks committing crimes and just the media attention that we put on things like that, that makes me ashamed. So I would say it's kind of a 50-50.
It has a lot, we got the Black Lives Matter movement going on right now because of things that have been happening and some unfair treatment of black people, we feel like. So yeah, it's changed my views and affected them a lot.
Really, the coverage of the black community in the news is more so they're not directly related to the Black Lives Matter movement. And as far as that's concerned, as far as like protests and even the looting and stuff, at one point I had mixed feelings because I knew that we were fighting for something important, but there was also parts of the community who were not advocating in the way that the media will respond positively to, as far as like looting and all of that.
Made me proud, and at the same time it hurts.
I don't really know what they could be telling or how they could be twisting it, but I can say that I am proud, especially like now that the Black Lives Matter movement I'm proud that we're able to gather together and realize when we're being wronged and trying to fix it.
Not really. I've always felt strong about my black culture, but I just feel like a lot of stuff that has been going on has been put to light, so that's good for the black culture, but sometimes it's portrayed in the wrong way.
No media coverage hasn't influenced my perception of black culture.
I'm ashamed of the way that the media portrays black people because all black guys are not drug dealers or bad fathers, and all black women are not hoes, quote unquote, and prostitutes just slanging ass everywhere.
I said definitely, African American athletes and rappers and people with a lot of money you see is going to inspire to be like them in the future. So I definitely said that. Proud. Of course everybody has their dark moments. But that's what we bounce back from that. So adversity we faced, and we just always find a better side to the situation.
Even negative forms of protests are protests, and there's a message to be said. So I went from having mixed feelings about it to feeling more, solid, more firm in my standing for the movement for my race, because ultimately everything in this country was more than likely built by us or some other minority that's been abused by the majority. So however we choose to protest, however we choose to express our feelings about the events going on in our world that we put together, we should be able to do so.
The media only tries to portray the negative side of being black, and I've witnessed both sides of being black, like the negative and the positive, so I don't let that influence what I know.
Every day social media influences me, the black side of social media influences me. And I must say that I'm proud of everything that our black people do.
I don't think the media has had much of an effect on it because I recognize that the media portrays us in a way that's not accurate. But I think that the celebrities and the public figures that are black represent us in a very positive light, and I do resonate with that heavily. Even having Barack and Michelle in the White House, obviously that means a lot to us, and it's very, very, very empowering. But I don't think the media is telling the truth, so I can't take much from what they say.
I'm pretty sure everybody is influenced by black culture. Even if you're not black, you get influenced by black culture because it's very popular culture. So I'm pretty sure some way I have been influenced by it through media. And I like what I see in the media about black culture because you see a lot of black people being successful. When you look back years ago, I mean, black people didn't have these type of opportunities.
Not really. I mean, I think it made me be more proud to be black because I feel like the way we're represented in the media sometimes is negative, and I don't agree with certain things that are said. So I feel like we gotta come together and unite. And you know, it just made me more proud to be black and to see a bunch of black celebrities, you know, being successful and doing what they're doing, and kind of as a motivation.
And African American.
I am a black woman.
Racial, so identify as half white, half black.
As an African American.
Or African American.
Black/African American.
I wouldn't say I put my soul identity into those two things.
I used to identify as more like white because I was just more into that, I guess. But now I realize that I'm 50-50.
Most definitely.
I would definitely say it happened.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely did because coming here, you're a big minority by being black. There's only like 9% black people here.
Yes, being back home, I was already in a white town, but coming to the PWI and being so close to other HBCUs really lets you appreciate your culture and seeing how different it is being on a different campus, having to walk around and just being known that a lot of people feel like you shouldn't be in the position you are.
Coming to PWI, I realized that everybody does not care about black issues the way they should.
Schools where white was the majority, but UNC really calls into attention the differences in culture, the differences in values, the differences in how they were raised, and it's just really helped me feel more a part of the black community than I ever have.
President-elect Trump has been an open racist, and just the fact that many Americans share the same thoughts that he has because they voted for him is very concerning. And he has support from the KKK. So I've definitely been enlightened since being at a PWI that even our own students share some of the same views that he does.
I would say that I've always appreciated being black, but ever since I came to UNC, I became more woke to the ideals and culture of being black.
When at UNC, we're fortunate enough to where, even though we're a PWI, we're very diverse. But in saying that, I don't think there are nearly as many black people as I would like to personally see on campus. And so when I do see somebody that's black, I always make an effort to acknowledge them, reference them. And so I really do appreciate the fact that I'm essentially different from everyone else.
I came here, the only white people I was ever surrounded by were like teachers or something. And even they have become part of my black community because coming from like a less affluent background as far as like my neighborhood, my school, my peers, having like white teachers, they were able, having been around them every day helped them to get a peek into what it was like to be us. So they became part of our community. They became like allies to us, almost like family. Well, actually family, because they supported us in many ways. So other than that, I had no actual exposure to white people. So when I came here and I'm in classes with them and I'm having constant conversations with them, it took a minute for me to adjust to what it meant to be black at a PWI. But because there's a strong black community here and a very tolerant white community here, I've learned to not only appreciate being black, but appreciate being black around a whole lot of white.
Definitely, I definitely say so. I mean, it's different here, being around, of course, a lot of Caucasian people, and it makes you think a lot about what you come from and what you know, so you gotta kind of stay true to that.
They ain't been through what I've been through. They don't get discriminated like I get discriminated. I can walk with the right person down the street and not get looked at and they won't.
Identity was chosen for me.
Definitely not on my own.
I feel like the identity was chosen for me. I mean, I was born half black and I can't really stray away from that, so yeah.
I feel as if I chose it myself. I mean, I'm just proud to be black, so. But I feel it was kind of like my family kind of put it on me early. But I mean, I chose it.
Growing up, my parents always impressed it upon me that we were black, and so that's when I developed that idea.
When I was growing up, I never connected with the black community. I was always like isolated and ostracized. So I always connected more with like white America or my white peers. And so until literally someone sat me down and was like, hey, you're black, like, started acting like it, I didn't really make that connection. But that day was like the best day of my life because I wouldn't have all the positive things I have now if I was still trying to like hide my blackness. Or
Chosen for me. I guess I've never thought of it that way. I mean, I was born black. On my birth certificate, it says African American. So from the beginning of my life, my race has been chosen for me.
Well, I feel like I kind of inherited the identity of being black ever since I've always been around black culture. But now I take up my own identity and I play my own role in being black.
Like, I was born black, so there's no actual way around that. But I know there are like black people in the world who don't typically like to embrace that side of them, whether they're like fully black or like mixed or whatever. But I think part of me being black is just me choosing to fully embrace everything that it means to be black, as far as the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's sort of like I was born into it, so it wasn't even so much as it was given to me, like I was just created this way, and then I continued to make that decision to embrace that I was created this way as opposed to rejecting it.
Now you see how other Tar Heels feel about being black. How do you feel about it?